Hello and welcome to India Today SoSouth. Today we are here to discuss an important notification given by the Siddaramaiah government, whereby now 90 people hold cabinet rank in the Siddaramaiah government. And what's funny enough is that only 34 of them are ministers. So here, what I'd like to throw light on is to see if this is an attempt to placate dissenters or those sulking for being overlooked a ministerial berth. Now, the Siddaramaiah-led Congress government in Karnataka has accorded cabinet status to around 56 people in just the last 8 months. So, as I mentioned, 90 people right now hold a cabinet rank in Siddaramaiah government. So, what we'd like to see is what are the different roles that Siddaramaiah has created here. So, there's several ranks, including advisors to the government. Now, the CM has a legal and media, medical, and even a general advisor, apart from a special advisor. Now, all of these people, we're not certain if they enjoy the cabinet status, but they have been given the cabinet rank. So, to discuss the constitutionality of this and the controversy behind this, we are joined in by Sandeep Shastri, a renowned political analyst. Thank you for joining us on the show, sir.
Thank you
So,
for having me.
so the question here uh, is the government really ignoring rules, to dole out the cabinet rank? And they sort of point out to these 2003 constitutional amendments that basically limits the size of the council to basically below 15% of the lower house. So, how do you see this playing out? And what is the how, can a government really have these many cabinet ranks, Mr. Sandeep Shastri?
You were right in pointing out the change that came about in 2003 as a result of the 91st Amendment to the Constitution, where it was put into the Constitution that the size of the Council of Ministers cannot be more than 15% of the strength of the lower house of the legislature. So in Karnataka's case, because we have a 224 member legislature, the maximum strength of the Council of Ministers can be 34. Now, and this has come into force since 2003, because earlier to that, there was no cap on the number of ministers that you could have. So you had very strange situations where in some cases more than half the legislators were ministers in the government. Now, once this amendment came into force, the political leadership had to find other ways by which to accommodate their supporters and their party legislators and their party workers. And the route came to be getting them important political appointments where they are not part of the Council of Ministers, but they are given the status of a cabinet minister. Status implying the perquisites, a particular fixed salary, and certain benefits which a cabinet minister otherwise enjoys. Let's make it very clear, they are not members of the cabinet. They do not attend cabinet meetings. They are not considered part of the Council of Ministers, but they are given the status of a cabinet minister. Is it something that should happen? No, it should not. But then let's also make immediately the point that the current Siddaramaiah government is not the only one which is guilty of doing what they have done. This has been done by previous governments, irrespective of their political color in Karnataka. And this has been done in other states of the country also, and by all political parties when they come to power. And as a student of politics, I say this is a way of political accommodation. How do you keep your legislators who you could not make a minister happy? How do you keep your party leaders who are not legislators? How do you keep them happy? How do you keep somebody you could not make a legislative council member happy? Now, this is a way of providing political accommodation. And this is something that has crept into our system and is made use of by all political parties when they come to power.
I agree. There's what you say is absolutely true, Sandeep ji. But one thing that I'd like to know a bit more about is, it's common to have 4 to 5 vacancies in the council to basically, for different reasons, whether you have to placate voices of dissent or whatever. But it's a sheer number, 90, cabinet ranks. That is a humongous number. Have you seen a number like that? Even if it's there in other states, Mr. Sandeep.
Well, as I said, I'm not bailing out the government for doing what they have done, but this is something that has happened in the past also.
Hmm,
The figure of 90 has been reached in the past in Karnataka also, because what are most of these people? Most of them are not advisors to chief minister or advisors to ministers. Most
hmm,
of those given this rank are those who are heads of various corporations and various semi governmental bodies which you have. Now, in the past also, these are called political appointees. They are
okay,
made heads of these corporations and
hmm,
given the status of a cabinet minister. Now, there was one thing different in the past. As you would know, there are generally three categories of ministers in the Council of Ministers: cabinet ministers, ministers of state, and deputy ministers.
yes,
Now, what has happened is the entire Council of Ministers now are cabinet ministers. Nobody
okay,
wants to be minister of state, nobody wants to be deputy minister. They think it's below their dignity to occupy those positions. So you have 34 positions, you give all those positions, people in all those positions are given cabinet rank. So no ministers of state, no ministers of state with independent charge. Deputy ministers was done away with long ago. Now,
yes,
correspondingly, what has happened earlier, you used to give cabinet status, minister of state status to political appointees in the past. But
okay,
now, because everybody has been given cabinet status in the Council of Ministers, the political appointees also say now you have to give us cabinet minister
yes,
status. You can't make us equivalent to minister of state because that position is now not there at all in your government. So I think this trend of wanting only the highest level is something which becomes very difficult for the leadership to respond to.
hmm,
And I
hmm,
said, especially when in this political life of floor crossing, of going and joining, of resigning and joining other parties and contesting, it becomes important for leadership to ensure the stability of their government, and the taxpayers' revenues is thus used to be able to ensure the stability of a government. Again, as I
hmm,
said, this is something done by all political parties when they come to power. Let me make another point. We in India are not the only ones who, as a democracy, suffer this particular development.
okay,
Let's remember, in the United States, any new president who comes to power makes 3,500 political appointments.
okay.
Not
3,500. Okay.
700. 3,500 political appointments made by him as
Hmm,
the president, who move out of office when he goes out of office. Here also, these political appointments,
yes,
their term is often linked to the term of the government. In the
exactly.
United Kingdom, there are nearly 100 plus such political appointments. In France, there are more than 300 such political appointments. So, this is, as you would argue, one of the spoils of office that you can distribute to your supporters or those who you need to keep happy, otherwise they could destabilize your position itself.
Hmm, hmm. That's a key observation there, Mr. Shastri, that they could destabilize the government, and all these moves coming just ahead of the Lok Sabha elections. Siddaramaiah seems to be doing this basically to placate voices of dissent, because one thing, it's like a side effect of coming to government with a popular majority, like 135 seats, it's like you have a lot of voices that you need to placate there. And with Lok Sabha elections around the corner as well, isn't that one of the ways that you just keep them in check and uh, sort of rectify the disgruntlement that they're facing?
You're right. And as I go back to my caveat, which I've been making from the beginning, while our focus is on the current government in Karnataka, this is happening in other states of India, and also this has happened in previous governments in Karnataka. That the distribution of the benefits of office is something that leaders hold out to mollify party workers, to curb dissidents, to keep people away from indulging in activities that could destabilize your governments. Now, and we are seeing this happening much more in the open. When the current ministry was formed, you had people openly talking about how they should have got a position and they were denied a position, and that every 2 years you must bring about a change so that new people have a chance to serve the people. I find this usage of the term serve the people a huge matter of laughter, because I wonder how much service of the people actually happens in this. You see, everybody seeks a position in order to serve the people. There is a demand for more than one deputy chief minister to serve the people. There is a demand for certain positions in order to serve the people. I don't know whether common people truly feel that they are being served, and what are they being served by such positions being created and such nominations happening. And again, I go back to say that this is a typical challenge in a lot of democracies where leadership is required to keep their party supporters in good humor and keep their flock intact, or else the government's own stability is jeopardized in the process.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Sandeep, for shedding light on this issue. Because as we discussed, the constitutionality is something that can be bent in a way to accommodate, the dissenting voices, and that seems to be the formula that not just Siddaramaiah has followed, but something that has been followed over the years. And like Mr. Sandeep also pointed out, there are 3,500 appointments that are made in the US as well. So there's nothing that is too concerning about it, rather than something that probably raises the eyebrow a little bit. That's it. So thank you so much, Mr. Sandeep, for joining us on this discussion.
Thank you.